From the stables of the publishers of Echoes Africa magazine comes your favorite TV show, Echoes from the Valley. African story like you've never seen it. For way too long, we've had others tell our story to the rest of the world.
Our churches should, and this is because this is the gathering place nowadays where you find mainly everybody going to church. We should also talk about our culture and not discourage our culture with Christianity.
So if we are not listening to our own news internally, how do we tell our story externally?
We need stories of people who have climbed through the vagaries of life and have become human beings. But we don't get to hear that because those stories do not sell tabloids.
Echoes from the Valley, telling the African story.
Culture is said to be the way of life of a people. It is the very crux of their identity. The world is made up of people of different races, culture, tribes, and tongues. Humans all over the world have the same bodily features. Apart from the physiognomy of people of certain races or skin color that distinguishes one from another, yet another basic but abstract feature that stands the different people of the world out is their culture. Africa, the world's second largest and second most populous continent, is made up of 54 fully recognized sovereign states. The people of Africa are predominantly black, with a few white exceptions from countries like Egypt and Tunisia. However, due to the similarities in looks, especially the color of the skin and the texture of the hair, most white folks find it difficult to understand that Africa is a whole continent consisting of so many countries. Most people who have neither read deeply about Africa nor visited her believe that Africa is just one of the countries in the world, covering approximately 6% of the Earth's total surface area and 20% of its land area. Amidst this seeming confusion, one good thing that stands the continent out from the rest of the world is the uniqueness of her culture, her identity, her customs and traditions, which are as old as Earth itself.
We have a very literate continent. We have a very geographically aware continent. We know the West, we know ourselves. There are very few African children by the age of 12 that couldn't tell you the map of the world. The onus is on us to tell our story. And nobody can tell your stories.
From the stables of the publishers Echoes Africa magazine comes your favorite TV show, Echoes from the Valley. African story like you've never seen it.
So many of these folks, they see Africa as just one country.
And the woman came to me and she goes, so what color is the flag? I said, what flag? She said, the flag of Africa. I was like, oh my God. I'm like, do I now educate this woman or do I just tell her and move on?
Recorded in locations across Africa and diaspora, it is Africa from African perspective.
These fellows invaded Africa without visas, without passports. And what about? About resources.
Echoes from the Valley. Saturdays, it is time to tell the true African story. Present your own truth.
They are working in our psychology as Africans.
That they don't understand that it was sensationalized for, marketing purposes. But that's exactly why I think people have a misconception of Africa and African people.
The conversation about who's the most African, we're really spending a lot of time on something that really is not that significant. What's significant is what we do.
As governments, as individuals, we have got to tell our stories.
What is your African story? What is your origin and the history? What makes your culture and tradition unique? What are your milestones? Echoes from the Valley. For participation and advert details, please call the numbers on your screen. Echoes from the Valley, telling the African story.
The culture in Africa is varied and manifold, consisting of a mixture of countries with various tribes, each having their own unique characteristics. The rich African culture is a product of the diverse population that today inhabits the continent of Africa and Africans in the diaspora. The African culture is expressed in its arts and crafts, folklore and religion, clothing, cuisine, music, and languages. Expressions of culture are abundant within Africa, with large amounts of cultural diversity. Nigeria, one of the 54 sovereign states that make up the African continent and the country with the highest population in Africa, sits strategically on the western angle of the African map. It boasts of over 190 million people, with over 250 ethnic groups and over 500 local languages spoken. This goes to tell how divergent the people of Nigeria are, so also their cultural beliefs, their religious inclinations, customs, and traditions. These ethnic groups are further grouped into 6 different geopolitical zones to make for ease of administration. Nigeria is a land blessed with rich resources, both natural and man-made, making her the envy of other black nations. Enugu State, one of the 5 eastern states in Nigeria, derives its name from the geographical location of the state. Enugu, originally pronounced Enu-Ugun, means the top of the hill. The state was first discovered when the first European settlers arrived to the area in the year 1909, led by a British mining engineer, Albert Kitson. At their first arrival, they dwelt in a small village called Nike in Ogui. Enugu State, popularly called the Coal City State, was formed in 1991 and currently has a total of 16 local government areas, among which is Nkanu West, home to the historic town of Okunano.
In Okunano, we have 4 districts that make Okunano. We have a Kebugu, Amodi, Obuofia, and Oma that made Okunano. And Okunano is the place in every Christmas or any gathering, every social gathering, we go to an Okunano from where we started. And Okunano is just like when you say you are going to Israel.
Undoubtedly, the people of Okunano in Enugu State have a rich cultural heritage, blessed with all kinds of human, material, and mineral resources. With a uniquely outstanding dialect, the people are generally known to be highly intelligent and industrious.
Among Obuofia Okunano and Obuofia in general, women are pot makers. They know how to prepare to make pot. That pot, if you put any water there, it becomes fridge. Because that pot is our women, they are well known for it. Where are you from? They say you're from Obuofia Okunano. Yes. Do you know how to make pot? If you say no, you say no. If you want to marry you, say if you don't know how to make pot, I'm not going to marry you. But if you know how to make pot, they will marry you. We do it. It is our talent. They are farmers.
The people of Okunano are both religious and traditional. Over the years, the community, with the help of its leaders, have managed to maintain some of the age-long cultural practices, which have been judged to be good and effective for promoting peace, unity, and progress among indigents, one of which is the Masquerade Festival, celebrated at the end of every year, attracting noble sons and daughters of Okunano and other notable persons of goodwill, both home and abroad.
We are trying to encourage all Igboris to be proud of their culture. There's no amount of money that can make us don't know where we come from. We are trying to make sure that every Igboris should know their root.
To the Igwe and people of Amangu, Ubofia, Okonano, their culture is their heritage and identity, and nothing takes it away. Although a larger fraction of the people are Christians, it doesn't get in the way of traditional practices, festivals, or customs.
Christianity is taking another hand, but culture is not idle. Culture is not idle. Christianity came. It can't kill culture. Even all these traditional rulers, we the traditional rulers, we serve the Christians and the church, the people that is doing culture. The culture is meant for everybody. It doesn't affect church, but some people say it affects church, but it doesn't. Culture is culture. As time goes on, as it stands now, Okonano, the culture is dying gradually because of the Christianity. The sort of Christianity in Okonano is a very powerful thing in Okonano. But as it stands, the one that remains still said the culture will not die. It will not die, but it is not going to be as it is before. It is reducing gradually.
Worthy of note is the fact that the people of Okonano are constantly conscious of the law of cause and effect. There are old-time laws, beliefs, and traditions that guide the activities of the people, making them scared of the consequences of disobedience. In Okonano, the fear of doing shoddy business and being struck down by an Okonano, the land deity that oversees the affairs and people of Okonano, pushes young people to work hard at earning a decent livelihood.
Anybody that is from Okonano, for example, has time to be corrected, that is involved in any shabby business. It is very, very peculiar to Okonano people. If in one way or the other you are involved in any shabby business, no matter how that business try to thrive at the beginning, at the end of the day it must crumble and it must crash. Anything dubious is not associated with any Okonano man.
Yes.
We may start it early and it will be flourishing, but at the end of the day it must crash and it must crumble. That is one clear aspect of Okonano life. Obiafa in particular, the truth and nothing but the truth that we have not harnessed that God gift. If we harness very, very well, it will be attractive and bringing economic to the people of Obiafa. We undermine it because if you go to some museums and some distance, you will see the handwork of Obiafa being displayed. All of them emanated from this village. You will have all the raw materials and what have you here. That is one. Two, we are very, very industrious. We are the peace setters. If you ask anybody in the whole of Enugu State and they can indeed, they will tell you that the whole peace that is reigning in Enugu State emanated from here.
From the stables of the publishers Echoes Africa magazine comes your favorite TV show, Echoes from the Valley. African story like you've never seen it.
So many of these folks, they see Africa as just one country.
And the woman came to me and she goes, so what color is the flag? I said, what flag? She said, the flag of Africa. I was like, oh my God. I'm like, do I now educate this woman or do I just tell her and move on?
Recorded in locations across Africa and diaspora, it is Africa from African perspective.
These fellows invaded Africa without visas, without passports. And what about? About resources.
Echoes from the Valley. Saturdays, it is time to tell the true African story. Present your own truth.
They are working in our psychology as Africans.
That they don't understand that it was sensationalized for, marketing purposes. But that's exactly why I think people have a misconception of Africa and African people.
The conversation about who's the most African, we're really spending a lot of time on something that really is not that significant. What's significant is what we do.
As governments, as individuals, we have got to tell our stories.
What is your African story? What is your origin and the history? What makes your culture and tradition unique? What are your milestones? Echoes from the Valley. For participation and advert details, please call the numbers on your screen. Echoes from the Valley, telling the African story.
Presently, many African countries are embattled with the demands of globalization, with the pressure to meet up with the digital age and practices suitable for the achievement of sustainable development goals. A lot of people now struggle to keep up with their cultural identities. Migration to foreign countries is on the increase, and with social interaction comes a whole lot of influence that poses a threat to a continued inclination to the cultural practices of most African people. The struggle is indeed real, but for Igwe Najiaha, the narrative seems different.
With the trend of event, that our culture will go into extinction. But I thank God for people like Honorable Labuchi Anyagi, the member representing our constituency in the Enugu State House of Assembly, who has taken it upon himself to re-engineer and reposition the mind of our youth towards our culture, as was depicted yesterday. You saw him in action. You saw the governor of the state in action. And that singular act of his has actually changed the perception of the youth. If you see the youth in their number yesterday, you will actually agree with me that he has changed the thinking and the movement. Every youth now in Okonano, Amang, Obofia, and indeed the entire Enugu state is going back to the basis. The basis is embracing our culture.
Nations around the world are making efforts to uphold their culture for fear that if certain measures are not put in place, their identity on the international scene will be completely lost. One of the ways this can be achieved is in the encouragement of local language speaking.
It's improving small. The young ones are trying to put it there, but now we, the traditional rulers in Okonano, still maintain that the culture will still remain. Gradually, it is improving. No more, it's not dying, but it is improving. Because when we are doing it with happiness, it is improving. The culture will not die in our own. Our forefathers gave us they gave us this thing, and it's not going to die. People who will condemn it, but people who still remain, we still say we are majority. We are majority in culture in Okonano now.
Although culture and tradition are two different things, but they can actually be married together for the furtherance of the cause of each one.
So many people that is a Christian, we talk to them that the culture will still remain. The one that is not good is not good, but the one that is good, we shall retain it. It will help us that it will not die. The small ones where people, the small ones where they born now, they take English, talk, they say no. Talk Igbo, say no, not be come, no. Talk Igbo there so that we'll understand what is happening. The culture will not die like that. We still pray. The cabinet members in Amangu, the elders in Amangu, they are trying all possible best to see that all this still remains, but it will not harm anybody.
With the current pressure for the embrace of westernization, modernization, civilization, and technological advancements, posing a threat to the continued existence of the African culture and the willingness of Africans to take pride in their roots and cultural heritage, one is forced to wonder how suddenly virtually every African culture has been attributed to being evil, diabolic, counterproductive, irrelevant, and generally unacceptable. How can this be curbed?
The Western world, the Americans, the British, or what have you, were their own way of life. Africans have their own way of life. Among Obuofa and Okonano were their own way of life. And this way of life includes even our languages. Our own culture, but our own way of life. And all the wrong for the Westerners to see our own way of life as being barbaric. It is not. It is our own way of life. That doesn't hurt any person, just like theirs doesn't hurt us. But the problem I will them accepting us the way we are, the way we accepted them. We accepted them the way they are. They should also accept us the way we are. It is our own way of life that was handed down from our forefathers to us. Hence, we practice it. The truth are nothing but the truth. Our custom, our culture is very peculiar to us and all the good to us. We accepted it. It is our way of life. Our languages is part of the culture we are talking about. Because if you are telling people to discard their culture, you are equally telling them to discard their language. Because you cannot separate language from the culture.
In Igbo land, southeast Nigeria, even the minutest things relating to culture matter a lot.
Tell me a friend, I will tell you who you are. You can see the admiration, the zeal in the faces of the distinguished invitees at the site over there. Yes. Yes, and is sponsored by Right Honorable Ilabuche.
For instance, the breaking of kola nuts, the serving of palm wine, the outing of masquerades, and the ikoro are highly significant and are never taken for granted.
Ogwu, Oji is a very nice. If somebody comes to a place, you present a kola to him, you have received him very well. He will be very happy that you have received him. Presenting a kola, not for him, he will be very, very happy. In terms of social gathering, if we come to Okonano in general, if kola is being brought, the eldest people in Akebugu who prayed for that kola. After praying, we started eating that kola. People were very happy that the kola has been blessed. The whole Okonano, they miss masquerade. In masquerade, we have Ega, we have Omebe, we have Obaje and Etobodo, you have Egugu, you have Ijere, you have Ototi Mawirika, Yabokade. You see Ikore there. Our forefathers gave it to us. It's not dying. that is not going to the idol. You don't say make you bring cow, bring food, make you go to an Okonano. No, go there and see what has done, what our forefathers laid for us. That Ikoro is people who tried, they keep that in. As they do them, as they blow them. Anybody when do anything, not the dance them. It's a very big here to Okonano. Okonano in general, they respect that Ikoro.
We're able to tell our stories, who we are, what we are, and we are proud of those stories.
From the stables of the publishers Echoes Africa magazine comes your favorite TV show, Echoes from the Valley. African story like you've never seen it.
So many of these folks, they see Africa as just one country.
And the woman came to me and she goes, so what color is the flag? I said, what flag? She said, the flag of Africa. I was like, oh my God. I'm like, do I now educate this woman or do I just tell her and move on?
Recorded in locations across Africa and diaspora, it is Africa from African perspective.
These fellows invaded Africa without visas, without passports. And what about? About resources.
Echoes from the Valley. Saturdays. It is time to tell the true African story. Present your own truth.
They are working in our psychology as Africans.
That they don't understand that it was sensationalized for, marketing purposes. But that's exactly why I think people have a misconception of Africa and African people.
That conversation about who's the most African, we're really spending a lot of time on something that really is not that significant. What's significant is what we do.
As governments, as individuals, we have got to tell our stories.
What is your African story? What is your origin and history? What makes your culture and tradition unique? What are your milestones? Echoes from the Valley. For participation and advert details, please call the numbers on your screen. Echoes from the Valley, telling the African story.
Advancing each to come together, tell their own side. Come, peace is the best thing. Peace is the best. Peace is the best. Even here, some people say Biafra, some they say no. Don't go very far. Don't go very far. We are Nigerian. We come together. You say Igbo man is this is that. No. We shall come together to be one. We have Okonano Traditional Ruling Council. We have Anako. The true story about it is, among people should come here and copy with us and make peace within themselves.